And we're on. Saludos y bienvenidos, everybody, to the PGP podcast. Hey, everybody, welcome. Happy Sunday to episode 119, our very first ever parent roundtable. What will our parents say? I don't know, but we're not there yet. Hey, Josh Tovar, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, ISD. Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with you. Wisconsin, Iowa, Maine, Hawaii, Ghana. Hopefully, the Costa shows up. Everybody out there, thank you for being here. You know that one of the things that is not guaranteed is time, and you're giving us some of your time, either right now on the live broadcast or on the show again on our YouTube page. So don't forget to like and share the show. Like and share the show. That's the most important part, because our guest today will bring the fire just like the other 118. And this is free PD for all of you. Remember what we have right now? We have Dr. Moreno, myself, 63 years of effective school leadership. Because some people throw out numbers and like, oh, did you ever do anything good? Effective 63 years of education. And you know what? We ain't faking the funk. We bring the fire and we bring the street cred just for you. So let's make sure that we work together to ensure that our students have a great 26-27 school year. Remember that we are part of the Fantastic Four network that you could see every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time with Sean Hurt. It's official in Texas. The scores are in. You know what the deficiencies are. You know how you need to get those extra ratings, and you call that cat right there. Doesn't matter if you're in South Carolina, Iowa, Nebraska, Texas. That guy is the breakdown data specialist. So if you need someone to help your school, reach out to Sean Hurd. He'll get back to you. He's a good guy, and he wants to make sure that the whole world is doing fabulous, because our kids will be doing awesome thanks to his work. Then you got 10:30. Dr. Shika Houston and Tammy Taylor. They were told by that superintendent of theirs many years ago, shape up or ship out. So they were told, raise those scores. And in 1 year, they raised one school 2-letter grades and another school 3-letter grades. Street cred right there. And then we finish at 11 a.m. every single last day. I don't need to mention his name, because you know what? He is synonymous in our sphere. El Jefe, Principal Baruti Cafele. At 11 o'clock, he's going to start a brand new thing where you could Zoom with him once per month. Check out what he said about that. Join that special Zoom link so you can hear from Jefe. And we are the close-up batters on Sensational Sunday PGP podcast with Dr. Moreno and myself. So thank you very much for being here. Please make sure that you like and share the show. But most importantly, if you want to be on the show, trust me, we are not a niche show. We're not a leadership show. We're an all-purpose education. Parents, superintendents, board members, assistant principals, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, instructional aides, everybody has been here. We talk about culture. We talk about behavior. We talk about delivery of instruction. Everything, a one-stop shop for you. Because we know that money's kind of tight out there. So come and join us on the PGP podcast. You will want to be part of the show. Reach out to that lady or reach out to myself, and we can guarantee you we'll book you on this show. H-Town in the house. We got them spiders going on. Hey, Moreno, ¿qué pasa contigo? ¿Qué estás haciendo?
Spiders are up and we're ready to go. But you know what? It's almost Halloween, so it's appropriate for now, but it's kind of weird when it's like January, February, so I get it. But how is everybody out there? Welcome to the PGP, like Josh said earlier. And more than anything, before I forget, happy 26-27 school year. I know Texas has started for the most part. I know, Josh, you've been in business already for a little bit. And I started doing back to school, but now guess what? The kids are in school. And we're already in the trenches. And so super excited. I'll be traveling to San Antonio later on this evening. I'll be doing some work over there. And I was telling you, Josh, I'm heading back to Tanzania because we're giving out diplomas in Tanzania in November. I'm super excited. I'm going to give out our first diplomas to our 7th graders. They get diplomas in 7th grade. So our first class.
If you don't know about that, reach out to her IG. Find out about her special school in Tanzania. What's the name of the IG?
The school is promisevillageacademy.org is the name of the school, but my Instagram is right here. If you follow me on Newcomer Success, at Newcomer Success on all social medias, you can find all great videos and everything on what I do in Tanzania. But social media, I DM me, let me know. I just got the quote. We're going to Serengeti. We're going to see the migration. Josh, you need to come with me. Who wants to see the migration? It's like what you see in National Geographic, only it's live.
Moreno, I'm about to retire, and you want me to go endanger my life with a bunch of zebras going over the alligators? Está loca. No, we ain't gonna be doing that at all. Está loca usted. We're not doing that. Hey, but thank you, yeah, Moreno. We're gonna reach out. We're gonna talk about that later because you're doing the Lord's work, doing that kind of stuff, helping those kids in another continent, making sure that they improve their community, their nation by all your hard work. And it's that time right now to have our Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua. Chaco's like, Chinchilagua, we don't have that in Philadelphia. How do you eat that? No, Chaco, it doesn't go with sour cream. I know a Jackie. Jackie knows. She's a 915. She knows Chinchilagua. Maybe Jasmine knows. Brian is looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Chinchilagua is a Mexican game that you play during the holidays, and you get all your family. There's like 7,000 human beings in one apartment, and everyone's bringing enchiladas and tamales. It's a whole thing, and then all the kids are outside, and it becomes a human pyramid, and you yell Chinchilagua arriba, boy, and there's one dude by the tree or by the wall, and you jump on top of him. Then it's your grandma. She yells, Chinchilagua arriba, boy, and jumps on top of her. So on and so it becomes a human pyramid. And it all comes crashing down sooner or later, right? It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt. Well, this is my thought today. It's the start of the school year. Hey, New England, I know you don't want to hear about school. Trust me. Moreno just talked about Halloween, and dumb Walmart already has Halloween candies out. Stop it. We don't want to hear about that nonsense, all right? But the reality is this. As you start the school year, remember, it is a marathon, folks. And all the convocations that I'm seeing on social media, all the ha, all the beautiful PD tables that are set up with nice colors and themes. It's all funny. It's all great. You know, the majority of the staff really wants to come back. They want to do their billboards. They want to do the bulletin boards. Their doors are set up. But this is a time where you put in credit on the credit card, educator, administrator, teacher. Right now that there is no fire, this is a time that you make phone calls home. Hey, I just met Mari, and she is awesome. This was her first day, and she was amazing. Thank you. You did a great job raising her. You know what? Today, Jackie helped me put up the billboards. Choco passed out the papers. Put credit in that credit card, not only with the kid, but with the parent. Because there's those 2 times, Moreno. There's those 2 times in the school year, in November, December, when Hiroshima explodes, and then in March, April, during state testing, Nagasaki explodes. There's 2 bombs that always explode during public education. And then we let go of stuff. You cannot let go of things. Build up that credit with that credit card, with that parent, with that kid. That way you avoid from big explosions to little ones. You cannot wait until something drastic happens. You got to make sure that you are always redirecting, ensuring that you provide them with structure, letting them know what the expectations are in a professional way, as you would want your child to be treated in class. And if they're not doing it, hey, Ms. Moreno, you know what? I had Josh today. Help me out with this. We got to work together. Josh had an off day today, but it's all right. He recovered, even though he might not have recovered. He was misbehaving all period. Just say he recovered toward the end, the last second, and he did good. Boom. It's still a negative thing, but you twisted it to become a positive thing. Even though Josh was bell to bell, just not listening, doing his own thing, but towards the end, the last second, he couldn't leave because you release everybody at once, and so you're not fully telling a fib. But the thing is building that credit card, making sure that you avoid those explosions in November, March, April. Moreno, what do you think?
Pick and choose your battles. That's what I'm going to say there. Pick and choose your battles. Oh my God. I can't tell you. Sometimes administrators, we just go out of control. Like we don't make mistakes or something. I don't know. All I have to say is pick and choose your battles when you call. Always call about something positive, and then stick in a negative somewhere, because if not, they're going to say, oh, they always call me about something negative all the time and they never say anything positive about my child. So I always say, go make sure you say something. You want, can you imagine always getting negative calls from, that this is terrible. So if you're a new administrator out there, all I got to say is pick and choose your battles. Try. There's something positive about everybody. So find something positive and call them and let them know that you care. You care about your child, their child. So that's all I got to
So
say about that, Josh, because it's so true.
make that investment. Make that
Mm-hmm.
investment with everybody, because you know what? That investment is also sanity to yourself, because you don't want to go home after Josh misbehaves first period, then Mari misbehaves sixth period, then Choco misbehaves seventh period, and then Jasmine last period just walked out of class and it becomes a total chaos. And then you go home, right? And you're going to give the rest to your family, not the best to your family.
Yeah.
And if you're always giving the rest to your family and not the best, then that creates a different dynamic toxicity for you as an individual. So, what are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Do it right now. Make sure you find positive preventive measures to ensure success for all your household, that kid's household, and your sanity. So, keep that in the back of your
Absolutely.
mind. Start making that investment. We don't
Love
have a
it.
flashback. We don't have a flashback because this is our very first parent roundtable. So, I suggest you listen to episode 116, financial support for educators. So if you haven't started investing, we had great people talking about 401(b)(3)s, life insurance, uh, investing. It's all those
Mm-hmm.
great things
Mm-hmm.
right there. Listen to episode 116. And if not, listen to last week's Happy Show with Danny Bauer, Sheldon Akins, and Erica Sandstorm. Great show to motivate all educators. But talking about educators, let's talk about the most important part, our customers. And who are our customers? Pues our
Our
parents.
parents.
Our
Our
parents.
parents.
Esos son los customers, los parents. Y por eso tenemos a todos aquí. Welcome everybody to the PGP podcast. Moreno Stick.
Oh my God. Again, thank you guys for joining us for a fantastic Sunday and having our first inaugural, because I know this isn't going to be the last parent roundtable we'll have. So I'm super excited you guys are first because you guys are setting the bar. So excited to have all of you guys here with us today. Before we get started, I'm going to start off with the person to my right here, Chaco, and this goes for everybody. Okay, same question for everybody. But Chaco, we'll start off with you, sir. So why don't you help us again share with our audience, because they want to know who are we and what do we do. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you live, and what do you currently do professionally, and what grade level are your children in right now?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Moreno and Josh, for having me here. My name is Chaco Abraham. Um, how to describe myself? I mean, at first I describe myself as a father, a husband, and an advocate for fathers. My work with dads is very important to me. I started out in my background is education. I started as a kindergarten classroom teacher, and it really opened my eyes when I was working in the schools that I was placed in that I didn't see dads there. Right? It's not because they
Mm-hmm.
weren't present; they just weren't there in that space. So how do we bring those dads? And so that kind of got me on the quest, and um, I've been a classroom teacher for a while, school administrator for a while, board member. So I've kind of sat in all the seats around the table and a parent, right? And so it's how do we, and I look at it from a lens of how do we ensure that the children that we're serving, and I use the word serving very heavily because we're serving these children and the families we work with. How do we ensure that the families are a part of this journey that the children are receiving? And so currently we're living in Kazakhstan, Almaty, Kazakhstan, and we move around a bit from my wife's job. I mean, I'm currently right now in Maryland, getting ready to move our children into university. Our oldest is 20; he's starting his third year at University of Michigan. Our daughter is 18, and she's going into first year in Boston, and our youngest is 12, going on almost 13. And so it's the impact that we have as parents, as fathers and mothers, is really important, very important, and we have to ensure that that space is given to the parents as well in the schools. And so,
Mm-hmm.
a little project I've been working on. We just got the book out called "The Dad Difference: How to Get Dads Back into the School." And I think schools don't make the intentional effort to bring the fathers back in. And so
Awesome.
that is, that is my passion on how to really bring dads back in the spaces. And I've done it in my classrooms, and it can be done.
Awesome. We're going to hear more about that shortly. So stand by so we can learn more about your book and your role. So 1 second. Let me see. Let's go down. Let's go Lamont. Lamont, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Where are you at now? Where do you live? Your current profession, and how old are your children, and what grade are they in?
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. So Lamont Rashford, I live in the metro area of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the city called Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is south of the border, right on the border if you ever come through the Carolinas. Um, from a career profession, I work in supply chain. I've worked in supply chain most of my adult life besides my military service. And also the pursuit of education. So I have 2 master's degrees and hopefully finishing a PhD. I've been working on it about 4 years. So this has been a long, long journey. From my children's standpoint, we have an age gap. We have a 25-year-old who graduated university level and also played college football at university level, and then a 13-year-old who thinks she's 25. So I've saw this in this process, raising really 2 different generations in school, because as my
Yeah.
son was finishing high school, my daughter was just entering. And I've been to all the PTA meetings, all those things, and it's a lot different on the second go around than it was the first. So, and last thing I'll say is go blue. For the University of Michigan student there, which is my favorite school. And I actually went to Central Michigan for one of my master's degrees. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Super excited to have you here. Thank you again. And yeah, that is a large age gap and so different parenting now. So would love to hear a little bit about the experience in that. So stay tuned and we'll learn more about you, Mr. Lamont. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're right in the center, my friend. Talk to us a little bit about who you are and your profession.
I got the middle square. It must be the good seat, right?
Yes, the hot seat.
So my name is Brian Emig. We live east of Dallas-Fort Worth in Rowlett, Texas, right in the middle of Garland ISD. Currently, I work in hospital infrastructure and construction. I've had pasts in medical sales. I thought I wanted to be a teacher for a hot minute because that's what my father and all of my grandparents were. And it's not for me. Y'all are saints, true saints. But we have an age gap as well in our kids. So we have a 27-year-old. I bought a blended family. So I bought a pre-started one. So we have a 27-year-old. We have a 23-year-old who's engaged, both Garland ISD graduates. And then we have a 7-year-old that just started in the 2nd grade and a 5-year-old that just started kindergarten. So we got 2 generations of kids going through Garland ISD, and we're very excited for it.
How exciting. How fun. We're going to learn more about your experience as well. So stand by. I'm going to go down now. Let's go to Jasmine. Jasmine, talk to us about your background. Where do you live? What's your current profession and the ages of your children and grade levels?
Hi, everyone. Okay, so my name is Jasmine Mendoza. I am from Edinburgh, Texas, way down south of Texas, probably about 15-20 minutes from the border of Mexico. I have 5 children, all adults, except for the youngest one. She's 18, about to finish high school, but ages ranging from 18 all the way to 28. And I basically had them all back to back. So I have experienced many different stages of school, of them being in school from elementary all the way into college, the challenges that it brings. I am in healthcare. I did consider teaching at one point, but you know, the way I dealt with my children and administration, I was such a helicopter parent. And I always thought to myself, if I had to deal with someone like myself, I'm not sure if I could handle that when it comes to 20, 30 students all at one time. And I just figured that was not for me. So I've been in the medical profession for many, many, many years, over 20 years. I am currently working for a healthcare company. It's an insurance company, and we're contracted by the state of Texas.
Awesome, awesome. And you said the H word, so we're going to learn a little bit about your background and how you see school, right? And how we can do better, especially working with families like yourself. So super excited to have you with us, Jasmine. And then last but not least, Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Caudillo. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I have 2 master's degrees as well. I have an MPA and an MBA. I used to work with the court system for 10 years. I was a court coordinator for a judge in a felony court. And I decided to open up my childcare business. So now I'm focusing on children 0 to 12 years old. And that has been a complete change. I have 2 children, one 11 and a son that's 15 years old.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Josh. This is going to be a fantastic. It's international because we have one from Kazakhstan. I can never say that word. And then we have Texas. We have the Carolinas. It's going to be a fantastic show today, Josh.
We'll talk about being fantastic. Our people are watching right now. Rella Hicks, thank you for being here. Our cheerleader, #1 fan of the Fantastic Four, Dot McKeever Jeter. Muchas gracias, señorita. We know that you're feeling much better. Constance Sherrard from Mississippi. Denise Caldera, gracias por estar aquí. Mireya Otalvano Diaz, gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. And before we get into to the audience out there, we're going to ask our parents specific topics or groups of people in schools and what their perspective is from a parent point of view. And so there's no right or wrong answer because obviously we'll all bring our own background to that as parents, as youths, our own experiences in school. But before I get into that, Jackie, I was going to start with you, Jackie. I want you to go back into the memory banks, all right? Since I'm old, I'm Gen X. I want you to go back into your card catalog. And I want you to make sure that you give me this. It doesn't matter, kindergarten to high school. I don't care about college. Who through kindergarten through high school was either your favorite teacher or coach? Who was that? Why were they your favorite teacher? Why did you select them? And one great experience that you had as a student, K through 12. Go, Jackie.
Okay. So my favorite teacher was Mr. Lindsay at Isleta High School. And the reason why is I really struggled with world history. And he just had a way of teaching you by songs. Like I could sing right now the 1066 song and you'll know that the Normans conquered England in 1066 because it just stuck to us. And so yeah, I would have to say definitely Mr. Lindsay. And for an experience, well, I had a lot of good experiences. I guess let's see. That's a hard one. Okay, well, Miss Whitney, she knew that I was struggling in English for a while, and she did offer extra like tutoring and at the end of the year when I was able to get, because I was always hard on my grades, like that I would always get like anxiety of it. When I ended up getting A on roll for that semester, like she bought me a yearbook, and for me those were small moments where I'm like, okay, I worked for something, and she noticed that I was working hard.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Lamont. But before I ask you, sir, Clemson or South Carolina?
Oh.
Geez, neither. Michigan, go blue.
All right.
That's the smart thing to do, Lamont. That's the
Yeah.
smart thing.
Absolutely, go blue. Favorite teacher, high school teacher in the technology class, and this is in the early 90s when computer technology was just coming. We're learning PowerPoint. It's Miss Paula Huff, someone that I still keep in contact to this day. So from the 90s, so she made a huge impact in my life, and someone that's checked in on me as my life has changed, as her life has changed, as she recently lost her husband. This was in education, 40 years, I think, and someone that's special to me. I think from a someone who encouraged on a different level, one of my football coaches, Coach Wimborne, who went to segregated school system and then became into an integrated system, so he could really relate, especially being in the South. And I've lived multiple places since school, but someone who could relate and could almost look at the world that I never visited as a segregated school system, but impart some of the wisdom that he learned from that and that propelled me even to today as a grown-up when I talk to how different my school upbringing was from my kids. I have to think, when I started school in the really early 80s, that most of the teachers that I had were in segregated schools and they went to a segregated education system. So we were some of the first classes of integration from the next generation. So that's never left me. And I think we have to take our shared experiences on to the next level when we're teaching.
All right. That's great experience right there. Let me tell you. Platícame, Jasmine. Tú que estás en el RGV, platícame.
Okay, so my favorite coach was Miss Dolly Longoria. She was a flamenco dance teacher. Not only just dance, like she had other classes that she would do as well, but she was my flamenco teacher. Growing up, my mom put me like in folklorico dance and stuff like that. And so she was the first one that actually acknowledged that I could dance, that I actually knew steps. So other coaches and stuff, they would always kind of just push me to the back, but she would always make sure to push me up in front and, give me that space, make me feel important. Another administrator that I love to this day, he recently passed, and his name was Edward Gonzalez. He was a principal. And I remember when I was younger, I really struggled, making friends and feeling included. And during lunch, he used to always come and he used to sit with me and he would buy me chips and he would talk to me when he would see me by myself. So that really made me feel important.
That's nice. Qué bonito. You see, not all administrators are bad. We get chips also. Darn it. Brian, what you got, brother?
Man, that was a loaded one. You're asking us for all the good stuff about educators, and you're saying like, hey, they're not all bad because you're fishing out of a gold pond here. But the teacher that had the impact on me, and I'll get emotional about this. It's Robbie Hostetler at De Leon Middle School in McAllen, Texas. He taught me jazz. And when my father passed away, he took us into the family. There's no reason to do that. He had his family, his kids, they have their family things, but he went ahead and took that step and brought us in. And then, the great experience, that music that he imparted there in high school, McAllen High School, go Bulldogs, the Pigskin Review, we're going out there, we're competing. You look up and you have every high school in the Valley, all their colors, and they're all cheering for you. It's not one team or another. You put everything you could all year. The teachers poured into you, and the crowd roars. Marching bands don't get roaring crowds.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the football team. We're not the money makers, right? But that experience that they poured into us all year, sweat, evenings, mornings, school. They put up with all our shenanigans and all the pranks we would do. We were awful kids, and they still did it every year. And that's just, it's unbelievable the amount of time they put in.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you for sharing that, man. Nombre que bárbaro. Thank you, brother. Chaco, what you got there in Philly?
Man, I'll tell you what, going back to high school, I wasn't good at math. I wasn't really good at math, but I'll tell you, there was one math teacher, the short Italian math teacher. He would come in with the crazy, Mr. Esposito, he would come in with the craziest ties. The craziest looking ties, huh? So you know every day you're coming in, you're going to have something different. But he hooked you with that. And he made math easy to learn because he knew he got you, you know? And I won't forget him for that. The second thing was I went to a Ukrainian parochial school run by the Ukrainian sisters. And I'll tell you, some of these nuns are not so nice. But Sister Maria was amazing. Amazing. I mean, the compassion she had for every child that walked in that door in that classroom and the way she received them was amazing, you know? And I'll never forget the compassion she showed to every child in that school. So, I mean, you know, we leave these memories behind, no? And we as parents do that too, right? It's every moment we do something, we don't do something, it's imprinted on our children's hearts, you know?
Wow. Thank you, Chaco. That was pretty good. And I appreciate that. The nun's got a Chaco check, baby. He got a Chaco check right there. Love it, right there. Love it, brother. So now we're going to go into, Mari's going to take the first question. And again, it's what your thoughts are, what you feel obviously comfortable as a parent saying, whatever it is, if you've been on a podcast or not before. And, you know, we have a lot of panelists. And if you feel, like I said, off screen, if you feel that the topic's been covered by someone else, then we're good to go. Yes? Moreno, stick, you got it.
All righty. And I just love, you can hear it in your voice where you're so compassionate. So it's so authentic. And so I think there's people even saying on the chat, out in the virtual world, how amazing the fact that you're very vulnerable and saying these things is just amazing. So again, thank you. I just want to make sure I highlight that because it's important for you guys to know. So this is our first question, and I'm going to give this one to Lamont. Lamont, we're going to start off with you. And then, again, everybody's answer may be different. It's, again, your perspective and your vision and your beliefs. So, Lamont, as a parent, what are your expectations of the school district where your children are currently enrolled? And then what do you look for in a district?
I think that's a great question. I think the number one expectation is safety. And that's not only physical, that's mental safety. That should be an environment that is conducive to learning, conducive to my child being able to stretch their imagination to dream the impossible. If they want to be an astronaut, if they want to be a nurse, if they want to be a homemaker, whatever it is, that environment should be conducive. And I think because we've moved around a lot, one of the things you look for in a school district is test scores. How well are the educators educating? And as a parent, I know that I have a responsibility, we have a responsibility as a household, but how well or how effective are those lessons? You know, in this area, sports is king. Rock Hill, South Carolina, for the people who's watching far away, you can look it up. It's known as Football City, USA. We produce more NFL football players than any other city per capita. And that's important, but that's not the one thing I'm looking at. So we have parents that move into these districts here just for football, that they want to give their child a better future in sports. But for me, academically, where are they standing?
Okay, awesome. So what I got from you is definitely safety, right? And then making sure that test scores, that they are teaching the best. You have the best teachers teaching the children. Awesome. Thank you, Lamont. Let's see. Let's go to Brian. Brian, talk to me. Tell me, what do you, as a parent, expect of the school district where your children are coming from, and what do you look for them?
So, DFW is a great mixing pot for cultures, and then there's some areas that are very isolated in what they can culturally produce. Garland ISD really answered a lot of our needs in that, because we wanted cultural diversity for our kids. We wanted our kids to be around peers that they're going to run into everywhere in the country, everywhere in the world. We didn't want them experiencing what I experienced in the Rio Grande Valley. It's 95% Hispanic and 5% other, and that other is white, Asian, Black. Like it was a culture shock for me to get to SMU and in the DFW area and experience all of these cultures all at once. So cultural diversity was a big deal for us. Test scores, not all my kids test well, so I can't expect all of the test scores to go well. And the score that they put on the banner outside, I don't know. You have to really look at the fine print, because some of those schools are posting 3 years ago, 4 years ago scores so they can keep their A on the side of the wall. And we're in a district with choice of school. We can pick up and move. We have great magnet programs. We have great targeted education programs for kids that learn in different ways at different paces. So we hit the lottery really living where we do. We got great educators, and I don't know if we got a bunch of unicorn teachers in a row for our kids, but man, they are just lighting up. My 5-year-old came home the other day and he said, when we help other people, we fill up their bucket, and their bucket is their heart. So first week of kindergarten. How do you beat that? I mean, Garland ISD, A+, like, let's just move on.
Awesome. Thank you. That's a great message to send to your kindergarten so that they can run home and tell their parents. So awesome. Thank you. And thank you, Garland ISD. I'm going to do shout outs to Garland. Let's come down to Jasmine. Jasmine, talk to us a little bit as a parent, your expectations of the school district where you have your children enrolled. And then what do you look for in a school district?
Well, my kids are enrolled in ECISD. They've been there since pre-K all the way into graduating high school. And I am happy with ECISD. We are not a melting pot, as Brian explained. We are the majority are Hispanic. But thankfully, I am not originally from Edinburgh. I do come from Chicago, and I have family that are over there, and I have family that, are around Texas. And so therefore, my children have got to experience other melting pots, thankfully. But I want my kids to have all the opportunities available to them. I love that Edinburgh has provided that. My children have been able to, one of them I had graduate with an associate's degree because we had the opportunity to take advantage of that. I want a school district that was going to listen to me as a parent. So I was attending all kinds of meetings, all kinds of school board meetings. And when I had something to say, they would listen. They would take the time to listen to what I had to say and make me feel like they were going to put things into place so that my children could be, so that they had the opportunity to succeed. And, I've had 4 children so far that have graduated from ECISD, and all of my children are thriving because they had that support and because they were given that opportunity from their administrators.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Chaco. Chaco, talk to us a little bit about, as a parent, your expectations of a school district where your children are currently enrolled.
Well, I think, all that's been said, it's really just amazing. For me, I want to be a part of this process of decision making. I don't want to learn afterwards what the districts are doing, And so if we can have, and it's not about, having participation, it's about partnership. If school districts can bring in parents and allow their voices to be heard on these policies and these programs and all the decisions that the districts want to make before they make it, we're also on the same page here, and so like safety, looking at academics. I mean, if we can talk about all this before the school year begins and kind of lay out our chart on, hey, this is what we're thinking about this year. What do you guys think?
Mhm.
And bringing us on as a team player, not as a spectator from their sidelines. And we getting notices saying, oh, we did this year, we did that, or so it's just, I think just to have an intentional partnership with the families, where they're serving the children that we're putting in charge of, right? So it's an active participation of intentional partnership with bringing parents in, hearing their voice, hear what they got to say.
Awesome, awesome. And you're absolutely right. We can't do this alone as administrators and teachers. We have to involve the parents. So I'm super excited that you shared that. And we're going to get more into some of that you just mentioned as we go on through our podcast. Jacqueline, any last thing? I mean, tell me, what do you think about what your expectation is regarding the school districts where your children are involved in?
I mean, like Lamont said, safety is a big one. For me, it's communication. My youngest struggles in school. She takes a little longer than the rest of the students. So for me, what I do every year at every open house is I talk to her teachers and I ask them, like, how can I help them set the goal for the end of the school year to meet where she needs to be at? Because she's not a really good like test taker, and so she gets nervous, and sometimes that just like shuts her down. So whatever I can do to help in those topic areas that she's having trouble with will benefit. But if there's no communication, I can't do that.
Absolutely. Communication. We're going to talk a little bit more about that moving forward. But man, this is going to be a fantastic show. Again, out there in the audience, like and share the show. Again, this is our first parent roundtable. These are our customers. These are our children's parents. And you know what? We want them to tell us what else we can do to make sure our schools are thriving and doing well. So I'm excited to have them here. Again, like and share. If you haven't done it, please, please, please do so. And don't forget the YouTube channel. Josh, how many more people has subscribed?
Hey, we have 4 on YouTube right now. We need 3 more to 285. 3 of you like and share right now. Follow us, please. Follow us right now. Let us get to 285. That way we spread this algorithm out there. But before we get into the next question, big shout out to Melissa Jones Chunu, my sister from Oklahoma. Thank you for being here. North Carolina, up your area there, Lamont. Arcela Austri, my sister up there. Dr. Marilyn Martin, thank you for being here also. And who is that? Latia Hart? Tell us your name, please. You're on YouTube. But before you tell us your name, follow us. That we could get 284. Okay, so here we go. So now let's get into Brian. Brian, you're in a district. What do you as a parent expect from the school and the administration? What do you expect from the school and the administration, the assistant principal? What do you expect from them, and the overall feeling of the campus?
We've said it a couple of times. Safety, like without a doubt, I got to know my kids are safe. I'm dropping them off there. I got to know that. Second, I would appreciate targeted conversations and targeted updates and notifications. We get blasted on every school app that we got 3 different times. Principal posted here, assistant principal posted here, PTA chair posted here, and they're all saying the same thing. And I'm getting it on the app. I'm getting text messages to look at the app. I'm getting emailed. I get it. We're trying to get that information out there, but things are getting lost. The important things are getting lost on some of that. And I think when someone put in the comments, the intentional conversations need to be popped in there. Creating those conversations with our teachers and administrators on what our expectations are and figure out how we can work with them. They don't need to hear us tell them how to run the school. We need to go to them and say, here's my concerns. Here's what I'm seeing. How can I be of assistance at my home in this process? I don't need to be the guy parked in the pickup line an hour early, honking the horn, complaining that my kid's not out yet. or honking the horn 5 minutes before the doors open so that I can get out the door and to work. But the intentional communication, that open door for that, and feeling heard. I've had calls where I was like, hey, look, I don't appreciate this fundraiser because it felt like a multi-level marketing scam where I had to fill in 5 email addresses for family members to fundraise. I feel like my child's being used here. And the response I got back was, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And that didn't feel good. It wasn't, hey, I hear you. We'll look at how these are run. These are run by independent groups in our school, and we'll look at that, and I'll get back to you on what we find out. It was, I'm sorry you feel that way, and have a good day. And I was like, oh, okay, that didn't feel good. I don't feel heard. And if that's what I'm getting on this, what happens when it's a little bigger? What happens when my kid's being pushed or hit or falling behind because they're too shy to speak up, or they're too shy to speak up and something happens and maybe they don't have a change of clothes with them, and now what? Now they're going to shut down because the kid doesn't feel safe. So it's the intentional conversation, feeling heard, and that's a big deal. Whether or not they do anything with it and change their policy is irrelevant. It's that conversation being a back and forth.
Thank you for sharing that. So true, so true, so true. Before I throw it over to Chaco, welcome Dr. Shika Houston, part of the Fantastic Four. Thank you for being here. And you know what, Lamont? She calls it out. She's a Gamecock, all right? Don't check it out, all right? Don't check him out, Lamont. She's a fellow Gamecock fan right there. Chaco, what you got?
All right. I mean, I think from the school perspective, I think I'm going to go back to what Jackie had mentioned. I mean, for me, it's definitely communication, right? I mean, if I can get information in a concise manner, in a concise way, and early enough to understand what's going on instead of later, right? That's one thing. And second is access. I mean, we have to have access to the teacher somehow. I feel like the teachers are overloaded, that they don't have time to be able to be setting that time apart to communicate with the parents. And the third really is from school perspective is academic transparency. This is what Brian was talking about as well. Just knowing how well the school is doing, whether it's that specific child to the parent or the specific school to the community. I mean, how well are the schools doing? The data, how well are they doing? And from a district's perspective, it's really looking at coming back to what Brian was talking about, allowing our voices to be heard. Just kind of knowing that we are a part of this process with them. We're here to help them. I mean, as a parent, I want to support everything that my children are in school with, right? Whatever initiatives they got going, I want to support that school, but I want to be in on the process. So make me a team player and allow, hear my voice. I mean, maybe this is not good for us next year, but I mean, it's just allowing our voices to be heard as parents.
Appreciate Chaco. Thank you very much. Noreen, thank you for being here on YouTube. Thank you very much. So, Jasmine, platícanos.
Well, for me, it's the communication is a big, huge one. How everybody was talking, communicating with administration is so important. Me as a parent, as I've mentioned, I'm a helicopter parent, so I'm constantly there at the school. My kids have been in just about everything, cheer, football. I mean, as I explained, I have 5 kids and they're all very active. And so, if they're failing something, that means that they can't participate in something that they really enjoy, that they tried out for, that they're working hard towards. So, of course, I have to go and I have to talk to that administrator. And sometimes those administrators are not as approachable. They see me coming and they're like, oh, it's that mom again, and I don't mean to be that mom, but some of my kids do struggle. Math is hard for some of us. History can be a little boring sometimes, and so, yeah, I am that parent that's going to go in there and that's going to ask, hey, what's going on with my kid? How can I make this better? What is it? Where do you see that they're struggling so that I can be a support and help them succeed? And, sometimes it's like I mentioned, it's not as approachable because they see that parent that's coming in. Oh, it's that mom. We had her last year. It's that mom. It's so-and-so's mom that's coming in. Oh, and then, the teachers all talk with one another and they say like, oh, yeah, you have that student. so-and-so was a sister, and that mom is going to come and talk to you. And, you know, the communication, that openness, the approachable, you know, I don't only want to know when something is going wrong with my kid. I want to know the good things as well. You know, I think that that's important as well, highlighting the good, not just the bad. But yeah, I mean, communication is a huge one. Being accountable, taking up accountability, being approachable, being consistent, all of that stuff. That's all very important to me.
Hey, Jasmine, you're so right about that. And you know what? Hey, admin out there, take it from 34 years now. Just be at the card line. Just be at the games. Have the little side conversations because you rather turn off a match than a forest fire.
Yeah.
And if you know for a fact that there's some parents that really want to help you, don't look at it as a push you, but as a support you. Now, if that parent, now let's look at the other side, is toxic in their ways, then that's a different conversation. But if the parent's telling you, hey, dude, I'm here to help you. Don't use me as a oppositional force. Use me as a plus with my child. But then it's fight or flight. Everyone goes into fight or flight, and that's not helping our kids. That helps nobody. And it's great to have people like Jasmine to go out there and say, hey, I want to know about my kid. I'll take care of the house. You take care of the school, but we need to work together. So that's the way we need to look at it always, especially with parents. She said it's a helicopter parent. Let's work together. Juntos así lo hacemos. ¿Tú qué crees, Jackie?
I agree with Jasmine. I had a situation where I had to switch my son districts based on the business that we opened. And he struggled. I mean, he's always been an A student and he struggled in math. And, you know, all the teachers always send us class dojos like to be added on the class. And he, you know, he was asking for help. And so he's like, I'm not getting an answer from the teacher. She basically just said, not everyone can be perfect, you know, because he was like, I need to get A on roll. And so I'm like, let me ask, because sometimes children will tell you and sometimes they tall tale it. So I'm like, let me go ahead and ask. And I wasn't getting a response from her either. And so I had to go in and ask, hey, how can I help like Eli with this? And, you know, she's like, he's passing. That's all he needs. And I'm like, no, that's not all he needs. Like, he wants to get A on roll because he's working towards a goal. So I need help from you so that I can help him on or tutoring or anything. Well, only if you're failing, you get tutoring. And I'm like, no. Like, so it's just those situations. Like, I know that some teachers are not used to having that parent ask or, you know, check in. And so maybe normalizing that and, you know, because it's also sometimes the parents not asking, but I would have expected more positive feedback than what I got.
Thank you. Hey, Jackie, Jasmine, that needs to go out like publicly. That's the purpose of this show today. It has to be spread. So here we're talking about Texas situation, but I know it happens in South Carolina. I know it happens in New Jersey and Wisconsin. It's a universal thing. Big shout out to Dimitri Caldwell. Thank you for being here. Tell us where you're looking at us from, Dimitri. What state? Lamont, talk to us.
No, I'll give two short examples. The last 2 or 3 years dropping my daughter off at middle school, we cannot get the drop-off line right. It is a struggle to get the drop-off process right. And, you know, maybe it's the military in me. If you can't get the start of the day right, I have lost a little confidence that the rest of the day is going to go smoothly. And I know that might sound like an overreach, but I think the small things like that, when you set expectations, that it's not frustrating for the parent, not frustrating for the child, that you're able to move kids through. Because now I wonder, well, what does the lunch process look like? And I think my second, dealing with my son, so it's about 10 years ago, he was injured doing sports and he was in the hospital almost 2 weeks through that. And I just remember the feeling as I was emailing the school and the administration for the district that everyone now is in protective mode instead of transparency mode. You know, more worried about is a lawsuit coming than, hey, how do we get the right information out? How do we communicate effectively? This is what went wrong. This is what we can do to fix the problem. So I think transparency within the school system, that teachers, administrators have to feel empowered that they can speak about situations that might not be going perfectly at the moment, but they have a true plan on how to fix them without worrying about being judged. Because that's at the end of the day, we want all our kids to be safe and we want the communication to flow smoothly so that on the other side of this, that we don't have a repeat of what just happened.
Right.
Thank you very much. Exactly. And Dimitri, South Carolina, answer the question, Dimitri. Clemson or the Gamecocks? Moreno, stick.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's focus our attention now to the teachers. Okay, because I know we have a lot of educators on this show watching us from all over the world. So let's talk a little bit about teachers, and we're gonna move over to Jasmine. So Jasmine, this is you're gonna start off these question, or you're gonna start off the question with you. In your opinion, what does a great teacher do for students? In this case, you can even tell us about an opportunity where a teacher did something for one of your kids. So again, you can make it general or specific to your child.
Well, I think a great teacher is going to learn their student. They're going to know, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. They're going to get to learn who their student is. For example, one of my kids had a teacher that she really took the time to figure out what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were in her subject. And before I could even reach out to her, she was already reaching out to me, giving me options, giving me ideas, giving me, other tutoring solutions that we could do to make sure that my son succeeded. I think that every teacher should learn their student in a way that is going to help the child succeed, but will also make them feel comfortable and make them feel, like they're being seen, and give them the opportunity to want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that teachers, a lot of the time, they're just so overwhelmed and they just have so much going on that they don't really have the time. They have their own lives to deal with, and it can be a challenge a lot of the times, especially with school classes that are so big. I understand that and I get that. But really learning really learning what the child what they need, and learning what it is, how to support them, I think is really important.
Awesome. And you know what, everybody out there, this is back to school time, right? So we're going back to school. Great opportunity and great time to learn your strengths, what children like to do, how they like to learn. Because at the end of the day, if kids are learning and wanting to be in your classroom, they're not going to be skipping. You're not going to be kind of fighting. So I love what you said, Jasmine, because it's important. We're back to school time right now, and this is the opportunity to again learn who your children are. And I know, guys, there's classes of 45. I hear it. I know it. I see it. But at the end of the day, we can definitely still do some really fun, great ideas and activities to learn how our kids are learning. So awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. Jacqueline, talk to us. Talk to us about teachers. Again, it could be an experience from one of your children or what you expect in general of teachers.
A little bit what Jasmine said, learning your student, but from learning them, make that connection to your student. Because once you make that connection, then you know how to approach, your milestones, things that need to be learned. That to me is the greatest. And that honestly has been an advice that I've been taking for myself. And going into childcare, man, I definitely learned to appreciate teachers. When you're telling a kid, we can't do this, and they're like, no, how do you build that connection until they're willing to learn, and then accept the school's routines, activities. center. So, I mean, it is hard. I do understand, and the teacher's point, it is hard. Setting all your milestones, your benchmarks, everyone, testing, like it's hard. So, for me, it would be connection.
Connection. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Lamont, how about you, sir? What about teachers? Your experience? What do you expect or what do you want from teachers?
Yeah, so I think it goes what everyone else is saying, but I'll say it a different way. I expect the teacher to be culturally and gender aware. That I know all of us seem to be minorities on this podcast, and we might be a majority in a certain pocket of the country. But in the bigger scheme of things, we're all minorities in the bigger scheme. And there has to be an awareness to that without being biased or racist. And there's so many different things that can be learned by understanding different cultures on what we celebrate, how we celebrate it. Even if you take that down to the gender levels, there's different expectations within cultures for certain, a male or a female. And I think understanding that and accepting that, not that you believe one thing is right or wrong, will further the education process and really expand the minds of our youth. But if you're closed out to say everything is one generic type of child, I think everyone misses out on an opportunity to expand and grow together.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Chaco, talk to us. Talk to us about, in your opinion, what great teachers do for either children or your children specifically.
Well, I'll tell you, as a teacher myself, what I did, and I'll tell you what, this is a great way, and go back to what Jasmine said and what Jackie said as well. Know that child. You got to know the children we're working with. If we don't know them, we don't know how to serve them. I mean, each one has a set of skills they're bringing to the table, each one of them. And if you don't know them, we don't know how to give to them, right? And then the second part is connecting with the families. What I did, and it's possible, I mean, I had average like 30 kids in my classroom. I would call every child's family every week. Out of 30 kids, you're talking about 6 kids a day. What, 2-minute phone call, maybe a 1-minute phone call. Hey, mom, dad, just want to let you know, so-and-so, he's doing good. Johnny's doing well. But, if you have any questions, let me know. I mean, that personal connection with home, like Josh said, you put out that match as opposed to a big forest fire later on down the line, right? Now I've made this connection with mom and dad. So we're on a very connectivity level where, talk to me, let me know. So definitely, I think it's, knowing them and connecting with the families, very key.
Yeah, we're getting definitely a theme around here. Brian, close us out, sir. Tell us a little bit about teachers and your expectation.
I mean, everybody here hit it on the head. Find the kids where they are, talk to them where they are, teach them where they are. Every kid's going to be different. That's why the teacher's job is so hard. Is you have 120 kids a day in some cases, and you're having to connect to each one. I get it; it's difficult. What I will say is, to Lamont's point, politics aside, if you got to talk to that kid to who they are. If you go to my son, his name is Anderson, but that's not what he goes by. He goes by Andy. If you call him Anderson all day long, you're going to defeat him because that's not him to him. No, I'm Andy. No, I'm Andy. And so you're going to flip a switch on that child that could cascade. If you don't start kids out with a really good set foundation in public school, it's not going to go well. And we've seen that with family, we've seen that with friends. But I'll also say at the other end, if the teachers are doing all of the things that all of these parents have mentioned, please, if you're doing that and it's necessary, fail my child. We had one of our kids that it was Friday at 3:00 and the teacher was calling. If he doesn't turn in the Spanish assignment, he's going to fail. He's going to fail. And we're like, well, where is he? He's right here in front of me. Well, does he have it? No. Fail him. Like, you did your job. This phone call is us releasing you of the parent barrage and TikTok revenge, whatever could come out. Like, teach them something. And if what you're teaching them in this is you did everything you could, everything, and that still wasn't coming back, that lesson is now a consequence. And parents, we need to go back to being okay with that. And that's a hard balance, because if the teacher isn't great and they've checked out mentally and they're just there, I've yet to meet one, but I'm sure someone out there is just cashing a check, enjoying the summer breaks and all the vacation days. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Never found it in my life. But if you're doing your job as teachers, which these parents have all said is connect, communicate, enrich, educate, if you're doing all that, it's still okay to teach that consequence.
Yeah.
And that's part of the
Don't
learning.
be afraid.
Some kids just need to do it twice so they learn it. You know, maybe 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 12th grade. I did a stint at the Texans Can Academy teaching for a semester. It's a last chance school, and those kids got it. It was their last chance, and they realized it. And we had 19-year-olds in freshman math, and they finally got it. But if you're not there to connect, you're not doing your job as a teacher. But if you're doing all that, fail my kid if they deserve it. Please.
Yeah, I love that. It's a two-way street, is what you're saying. It's a two-way street. So
My kid has to participate as much as you are, or at least half as much as these awesome teachers are. My kid has to at least give half of it.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, panel. That was a good question and a good round, Josh.
So let's dig a little bit deeper into the communication aspect of it. And obviously, myself as a dad of 3 boys, one in high school, one in middle school, one in elementary. So I understand, Brian, what you said. All those parent squares, I get them from each school. And they're tied to my Google email, which I get that email also. And then you add the s'more from the administrator who sends you the weekly newsletter on Class Dojo for that teacher. And there's another one, Parent Square, Class Dojo. There was another one. I don't know. Well, it's all relevant, right, to whatever it is. So the communication's going out there, and as a dad, I'm speaking as Josh the dad, all right? I get all those 3 things all at once, and they bombard me at different times. Does that make sense? You all feel it. I'll start with you, Jasmine. What do you feel would be a better way to funnel communication with parents? Does that make sense? Because the schools will do everything in big schools, like in the DFW area, you've got schools with 3,100 kids. And so you got to create a platform, a universal platform, as compared to somebody like Uvalde, somebody like in the Valley with little districts, right? But you still have one communication system that goes universal to everybody. So what do you feel, Jasmine, will be best for a school? Obviously not the district level, because sometimes they have to make financial decisions for the whole district, all right? But as a campus, as a teacher, what would be the best way to communicate for you as a parent?
Well, I mean, first off, communication goes both ways, as we've said before. If teachers are being present and they're communicating and they're going to the next resort and going to, the other administrator saying, hey, I need you to send this notification out because I'm not getting a response. Parents need to be involved. Parents need to respond. Parents need to read those messages and say, okay, this is happening and I need to do something about it. I'm not saying be a helicopter parent, but I am saying be involved. Know what your kid is doing. Know what's happening. For me personally, when I had my kid one in elementary, one in junior high, one in high school, even now in college, I get those alerts too. Believe it or not. Because I've told my kid, you put my phone number in there too. So, there's an alert going on campus and I know about it. So, for me personally, I was turning off alerts for, my emails, and I was just getting them as text messages. And when I was getting just those specific text messages, that's when I was really paying attention. I wasn't paying attention so much to the emails. I wasn't paying attention so much to other lines of communication. I was paying attention more so to those text messages that were being sent out. And it was more from the teachers, not so much like, Edinburgh High School wants to get your, wants to know what we can do. And like, no, I wanted to hear from the teacher. So on the first day of school, I was going, or meet the teacher. I was going and I was talking to these teachers, and I would give them my phone number and I would tell them, please contact me, please. And it will be a two-way street. You will hear from me. You may not hear from me because I might be in a meeting or I might be, busy with work doing something, but give me about an hour or two and you'll hear from me. If it's really, really important, here's my work email. And you can email me at work because I will respond to that work email. Communication goes both ways. As much as we want the teacher to be, active and involved, us as parents need to be doing the same. And we need to advocate for our kids, and we need to know, we ourselves know our children the best. So when teachers would come and complain and be like, hey, your kid did this and this and this, and my kid would be like, no, I didn't. I'd be like, yes, you did. Yes, you did, because I'm your mom and I know you did. So we need to find a common ground here. We have a lot of parents that will say, no, little Johnny didn't do that. No, my kid would never. And then there goes your kid nevering. So, I am a helicopter parent, but I also take accountability for my kid because I know who my kid is. And that communication is really important. And funneling that communication to, something just simple, but yet effective. And the parent, actually paying attention to it and doing something about it is really important.
Thank you for sharing that. What you got, Jackie?
To add on again with what Jasmine said, opt in through those text messages, because we're also, we've been talking about communication and, holding some of these teachers accountable, but the parents that need to be held accountable too, because as a parent, I'm trying to raise my child to have good habits, to, get them ready for the real world and, make a good person out of them, so if I'm just going in there, barging in and just telling also the teacher all the negative things that they're not doing, we can't expect them to come back and be positive either. I got to take accountability for who my child is and what they lack. So.
Got you. True. Very true. Very true. What you got, Brian?
The communication, we get great communication for individual instances through dojo messages and stuff like that from the teachers. My main point on the communication earlier and being bombarded was it doesn't feel targeted in the mass distribution of things. So we'll get the same message about the book fair from 4 different sources at the school. And so I'm losing the important ones when it's a community night. Let's get together as a community at the school. And that one got overwhelmed by book fair or dress up day. And there's so many activities to miss at our schools right now where, gosh, I don't remember my parents ever being at the school this much, but there seems to be an event, a turkey trot, a meal, a this, a that, 7 award ceremonies to go to during the day. And I'm sure my parents went to all that too. I don't want to miss those because I got 7 alerts about ordering the PTA shirt. I want things to be more targeted. Look, if you said it once, neat. Maybe once again next week, but I don't need 4 people saying the same thing to me. The teachers are doing a great job communicating with us about our children's needs. And, Jasmine keeps saying she was a helicopter parent. I think she was an interactive parent and an involved parent. There's a difference because it sounds like what she's doing is interacting with the teachers to make sure that her kids are doing well, but also acknowledging the fact that they're still kids, and she knows her kids about stuff, and it's okay
Mhm.
for parents to take the teacher's side. Your kid isn't supposed to be your friend, and this is going to get a lot of Twitter hate, which is why I'm not on Twitter. Sorry, y'all, you can't blast me. But we're not supposed to be our kids' friends. We're supposed to take care of them. We're supposed to lead them. We're supposed to give them tools, and we're supposed to make them capable. And we're partners with the teachers in that aspect. So any communication that comes back to us, I would just totally appreciate administrators tightening down the reins on what types of things go out and how many times that thing gets repeated going out. You know, we got all the apps, we get all the texts, all the emails, and then we get the phone call at the end of the week from the superintendent telling us everything that the district is doing. It's a lot, and we want to make sure that we're catching the right things for our kids to be able to go forward. Teachers individually, always please just keep that one-on-one communication going. You're not going to overstay that welcome with us. Let us know how we can help at home. It's not every district has homework anymore, because you can't call it homework anymore, but let us know how we can help our kids with activities or whatever. Just keep the conversation going. We don't want them forgetting and shutting down because they got home and found a tablet or a Bluey episode.
The Bluey episode.
Ooh,
So
dog.
true.
Bluey.
Chaco.
Yeah, I agree with what Brian was talking about. I think if you streamline it, right? I mean, the same message goes out 3, 4, 5, 6 times. The message gets lost in the whole mix of things. And I think, this information that's coming out is either just information or there's some kind of action required, right? Action items that need to be done. So I think it's when you kind of spewing it out there, it gets lost in the mix. So if we can kind of streamline it where parents are receiving it just once, but a reminder sent out later, and just allowing that to come across, and it just allows the coordination of, you don't need the PE department sending something out, same thing as the principal sending it, and then the athletic director sending it. It's all the same message. If you can streamline it and make it more efficient, I think, parents, I got like 100 emails a day from all this stuff I had to go through. I got to check, right? A lot of that stuff is not necessary, and so if we can, just trying to keep it simple, because there's so much, there's so much on this tech side, right? There's so much coming out. So definitely streamline it and kind of highlighting, action required or just for information, something like that, keep it kind of engaging on, how do I respond to this, so it's.
Got you. Another home run, Lamont. Let's go. Close us out this inning.
I might disagree slightly with everyone. I'm fine with the amount of messages, because I realize if I got to depend on my child to deliver any of those messages, I probably wouldn't get any of them. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves. So there is a probably overreaction with, we'll get a phone call within the next hour from the school district, and then there'll be a follow-up, and then I'll see the email. I get it. That's because there has been a time when our children, and we all know our children, didn't deliver any message. So Spirit Night, that they didn't have, there was 2 parents that showed up because 2 kids gave the message to their parents. So for me, I try not to, it's up to me what I'm doing with those messages when they come in my email or text. And I try to look at all of them. Yes, I might miss something because they're overboard, but I know if the burden was put on my child to deliver that sheet of paper to me to say, hey, we have this going on a week from now, I would get that 3 weeks after that event has happened. So I try to relax a little bit on the amount of communication, because I understand the school is trying their best to get the communication out.
Beautiful dialogue. Exactly. I knew everything about my middle level son in December. That happened in August, September, October. So it was on his backpack. You know what I'm talking about. It was all in his backpack. Moreno stick.
Including the sandwich that's already green. I get it, Josh. I remember those days. I remember. This is one of my favorite questions, and I'm super happy that we're sharing this question with you guys, because, as a former principal myself, I've always wanted to how do I engage my parents a little bit more often? So I'm going to start off with Chaco. Chaco, I'm going to, being a former educator yourself, so I figured, let me start with you. So besides parent teacher night, right? Or meet the teacher, or athletic events, because parents are always there during athletic events and maybe meet the teacher. How can schoolhouses or schools become fun and a welcoming place where families, staff, students can bond and have a stronger community? Like, give me some thoughts.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail, Dr. Moreno. PTA, I mean, the back to school night is big, right? You got
Right.
the whole community comes out. Everyone's coming out back to school night. That's when you can get them, right? But once that dwindles out, then the rest of the year you don't see the parents.
I never saw them. Right, right.
Right. And so, I mean, what I did, I have to tell you, back to school night for me was the golden ticket. That's where you get the parents. No, they all come. And a lot of times, what we do as teachers, we have, we have a volunteer form we give out for the year, right? A lot of teachers do that and give out volunteer forms. But here's the deal, though. Usually, every family gets one, but I would give to each parent, mom and dad. Right now, I got double volunteer forms coming back. So, because mom's got different skill sets, dad's got different skill sets. But on the forms also, when can you come in? What can you do that you can do in the school? You know, if we can, and I've done this with dads, where I would have dads come in, 3 to 4 dads a week would come in and help teach lessons. Some are good at math, some are good at science, some are good at reading. So they would come in. They would even come in at lunchtime, hang out with the kids. So, but if schools can open up that space to say, we want your involvement here, right? We need you. We need you here. Help us out with lunchrooms. Help us out on the playground. Help us out in the morning when got drop-offs or pickups. Come in. It's allowing, and it's really an invitation, Dr. Moreno. It's an invitation. We're inviting these parents back to the space that they have a right to be in, right? They have a right to be in. And so it's just that space now is not just a school space, it's a communal space for the community. So allowing the parents to come back into the school buildings and to assist in so many different ways. And I think the school reaching out and saying, how can you help us? How can you help us? Because we have parents who have a lot of different skill sets, and, one of the strategies in the book we talk about is the skill sets that these parents bring. You can do, it's teaching the job that they're doing. Have an assembly on what the skill sets of these parents are, right? And just engaging them and allowing them to be highlighted in the community, in the school. So I think, just to be intentional and bring our families back in somehow. And it's going to look different in different schools. But it's the fact that we are being intentional to say, we need you here. How can you help us?
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Jasmine, how about you? I know you mentioned parent teacher night. You were there. You have kids in every single sport that the school district offers. But how else can schools get folks involved besides those to build that bond and build that community?
One of the things that I really enjoyed as a parent, as a member of the community, we during football season, we have a whole week for homecoming week. And I so look forward to the carnival that we have. We have a parade, and it goes from one end of a major street. It goes from one end of a major street all the way back to the high school. And you have parents lined up. You have the whole community lined up all along the streets. And you have alumni on, walking, and you have the band, and you have the football and cheer and swim and everybody. They're all walking, and you have all the parents there. And then at the end, we have a big carnival. And all of the student organizations are there, and parents are there helping these organizations. And they're selling nachos, and they're doing the dunk where you can dunk a school administrator. They're doing the jailhouse where you can put the principal into the jailhouse, and they're doing they're doing so many fun activities, and everybody as a community is coming together and sharing this space, and it's so much fun. I every year I look forward to doing that with my children and with my community. I think it's a great thing to be doing. I understand that it can't be done that often, but having something similar, maybe not a carnival or maybe not a parade, but having something where we can all come together and celebrate our children. I think that that's fun. That's a lot of fun. I really look forward to that. Another thing that I look forward to is I was a band parent, Brian. You talked about pigskin. From the summer, from early July into August, all the way until Bantober. That's what we know it as, Bantober, because the whole month of October leading up to Pigskin, we're having all kinds of band competitions, and the parents really show up. The parents show up to give out water, to give out snacks, to give out, to help. How Chaco was saying, every parent has their own skill set. We make those props from scratch. A lot of people don't know that, but those props are being made from scratch. Those uniforms are being sewn by hand. When the uniforms have to go home, guess who's washing them? Right here, I'm washing band uniforms. All of that has to do with community. All of that has to do with making everybody feel inclusive. And I think that some parents don't know about these things, and I know because I go out there and I advocate. I posted on social media, hey, we're going to be here, we're going to be doing this, we're going to, I think that if more people come out from the community, maybe it would be something that becomes bigger, and it'll be more supportive. And those are things that I really enjoy, and things that I think would benefit everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. It sounds like not just a parent teacher night, but it sounds like going above and beyond and doing other things. So administrators out there, what Jasmine is trying to say is think of how can we involve all of the teachers and all of the clubs and everything at your school to kind of do something where it's fun. Right. So I think that's what you're trying to say is besides, because that's a great opportunity to showcase your school as well. Awesome. Brian, since she talked about pigskin and she kind of pointed you out there, I'm going to kind of go over to you. So I know pigskin and 956 RGV, it's a huge thing. I don't even think there is a seat in the house when it comes to Friday Night Lights football.
It's El Valle, man. The RGV's got it. And Bantober's a real thing. You may not believe it, but it's hot and it's real. And the pavement's so hot it'll melt your shoes at that band practice. Those kids are tough. She's right. Jasmine is about engaging and finding events for everyone can participate, and with our skills that we have, I've asked our church, hey, should we put out a survey to find out what everyone's secret skill is? Like, we have senior saints out there that used to be roofers, that used to be flooring guys, they may not be able to do the work themselves, but we got coachable people there, young people that can do the work, and finding that's always a good help. Here we try to participate as much as we can with the fall festivals at the schools, the spring festivals. We're trying to get around the teachers, but the teachers are working those events. It's really hard it's like us attending something and meet the teacher night. We're not getting to really meet or get to know the teacher. We're getting to meet them. It's not really a bonding moment. We keep trying to go to the restaurant fundraiser night here. It's Chick-fil-A because, it's God's chicken and everyone goes to Chick-fil-A. But it's like all the meals, the profit goes to the school or whatnot. We always go hoping to run into our teachers there, and it ends up being like 2 or 3 other families. And I was like, man, I was planning on buying our kids' teachers dinner that night. Maybe we need not a meet the teacher night, but a feed the teacher night where the parents get together in the cafeteria and we bring the food and we serve them and we can sit down at the tables with them and talk to them. And, the kids can hire babysitters. I don't care. Let them run around amok, lock them in the back gym and just let them go with dodgeballs. Just something where we can build that rapport where it's not just someone's on one side of the desk or the other. Hey, they're working this event. Hey, we're here for an agenda reason. We got to check this box. There's really not a good amount of time where we can set aside, like that homecoming event that was mentioned, for lower level schools to really get that mix in. There's not a lot of elementary school alumni showing up for Fall Festival. It's not a thing that we get. The homecoming, I can't wait to go back to McAllen homecoming. 25 years coming up real soon for me. But we just need more events, more creative events where we can mingle with the teachers and not be sacrificing their time because they're running this booth, they're running that booth, they're in charge of this or that. Just more targeted communal time that we can have with these people. They're our peers. And in some cases, they're the same age as my oldest kids, teaching my youngest kids. And it's sometimes odd to say that they're my peers, but it's true. We're treating them as our peers because they're in that position to be leaders for our children.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Brian, after 25 years, you start getting them every 2 years. I'm going on my reunion is every 2 years now because we have to have them more frequent when you get older.
I used to tell my dad it was a finder's fee at that point. You get to a certain year and they're just checking the obituaries to see who they're not inviting anymore.
It's terrible. Yes, Edinburgh Bobcat right here. Class of 90. So we are up there already, going on, I guess, 35 years now. I think I just did my 35. So, okay, let's go to Lamont. I'll get Jackie in a minute. Lamont, talk to us a little bit about how can schools become a more welcoming environment besides the parent-teacher and the athletics stuff?
I think and it's a big standpoint. You guys sound like you go from great areas, great school districts, but there's other districts out there where that needs to be an invite from the teacher, the administrator. I know the school belongs to the parents also, but there are some parents that do a little bit too much. And we want to create the space where teachers still have control of their environment and what they want and how they want it. And I think sometimes as parents, and I'll give a prime example, when COVID hit, trying to help my daughter with math during COVID, I have 2 master's degrees. I could not figure out the math. And it was simple math, but I couldn't figure out the new math and the process. There's no way I need to be in the school system telling teachers how they need to be inviting me in and doing all these things. So I think there is a careful path we need to walk. And I think C.T. Kirk is on here, who's currently an ELA teacher, was a history teacher. He would ask for outfits and costumes to dress up like Abe Lincoln and get the parents involved, providing those different things so they're more educational, more inviting into the classroom instead of the parents pushing their way to an event. So I just think on some level, like I say, you guys sound like you're in great areas, Michigan, Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah, but sometimes parents need to relax a little bit and let the teachers and administrator do what they need to do. And you take your role being the best support person you could be out there.
Awesome. I love your perspective, Lamont. And again, I think it's based on the community as well. So absolutely. Jacqueline, I know you have something for me because you always have some great ideas. So finish us off with, besides parent-teacher night and athletic events, which is where most of our parents show up all the time, how can schools become fun and welcoming places where we welcome families?
Well, Dr. Moreno, you're going to be surprised because I don't have a clue on how to do that. Like Lamont said, sometimes parents try to push themselves in, and I've seen that. Growing up, I didn't see that. Now everyone wants to be part of like the school, and no. So I mean, I don't know how much more inviting they could be. I think it would be more beneficial if teachers would, teachers or administrators would be like, hey, like we need like a sign up genius, like, and how Chaco said, know what you need and what your expertise are that you can give. I know I can't help like with bulletin boards. I'm not creative like that, but guess what? I will go in and donate, like, even if it's like Kleenex boxes for like not just my class, my kids' classrooms, but like the whole campus or stuff like that, because I know that that's what I can do. So I think that the whole culture in school with like volunteering and making them more welcoming, I think that's a trend now, in my opinion, at least where we're from, that I didn't see growing up.
Yeah, and it's just all trying to kind of be more inclusive with everybody. And you're right, everybody is very different and very busy, and but I love everybody's perspective. Josh, I know I picked up some cool things. I'm not in the school anymore, but you're still in the trenches. I think this would be really fun to do.
Most definitely, I agree, and it's that knowledge. But talking
Mm-hmm.
about knowledge, our panel also has some other stuff, and this is a time where we spotlight. If they like to show out there anything, a book, a podcast, anything that you have. Chaco, I know you got a book, brother, because you're going to be in a future show. Talk to the audience about your book real quick.
Oh, I appreciate it. This book just came out about 2 months ago, The Dad Difference. This is how we actually engage dads back in the classroom. And I had the honor to co-write this with Dr. Deborah Higdon, my colleague. She has a wealth of experience talking about engaging fathers back in the classroom, and it's just being a proactive space where the schools are actually inviting dads back in. Because a lot of times as I went through my teaching experiences, not many males in the school systems, especially elementary. But you know what? I reached out to my dads first. I call them first. I don't call mom. I call dads first. And they just felt welcomed in. This is your space, bro. Come on in. You are welcomed here. So this book really talks about strategies and ways that schools can really hit the ground running with no cost. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money on getting parents into schools. You really don't. It's just
so that's a teaser for a couple of weeks. That cat will be here with the co-host, co-author, and they'll be talking about that book in a couple of weeks. Brian, what you got?
I'm a co-host of a podcast, Nerd Out with the Word Out. You can get it on any podcast distribution site. It is a biblical history podcast that starts at the early church, and we just dive into what created it and why, what they were thinking at the time. We bring in other sources and just attack things historically, and really try to put out some misconceptions that are out there. It's part of our passion, driving history and learning, bringing that knowledge in. We had some great history teachers growing up that really just spurred that on. I'm working in technology and IT now, but the history teacher is still stuck in my brain, telling me to dig more.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. The Word Out with the Nerd Out, or what was it again?
Nerd Out with the Word Out.
There we go. And I heard a couple of those shows. Yes, heard a couple of those shows. I highly recommend that show right there. Jackie, someone just opened up a business.
Yes, I am the director for Academia del Valle, which is a learning center here in the Lower Valley. That's where I grew up, and I figured what better way to give back to our community. So if you're ever in El Paso and need childcare, come look for us.
And Jasmine, we call that the Lower Valley, all right? I know that RGV gets a little bit touchy with stuff like that, but in the 915, that's what we call it, all right? So they
You call it the Valley?
Yes. And,
El Paso?
Yes, and stop it, because that's where the true Mexican food is. But we'll just leave it right there. Jasmine, you got anything to promote real quick?
I do not have anything to promote.
Gotcha. Lamont.
So I am the founder of Higher Definition Radio. We started it at a radio broadcast about 18, 19 years ago. And what we do is try to promote positive people doing positive things out in the community. No matter what line of work you're in, what professional setting, what's your education, we talk about it. We talk about a lot of Christian issues, how the church affects our everyday life. How do we do better in life? And we like to use the term generational curses. But what does that really mean? Not only from a biblical standpoint, but repeating cycles, and especially as we're talking about education, that most people that grow up in poverty, the next generation will also be in poverty, overwhelmingly statistically. But how do we break those curses? How do we talk about eating better? How do we talk about living better, loving better, and healing? So Higher Definition Radio is what I founded. And a lot of people you keep seeing from naming from South Carolina, not only a part of the Higher Definition family, but support whatever we do. So I say thank you to this platform for showcasing.
Thank you. Awesome. So let me jump into my question. I will be remiss if I don't mention this, because you know that if you're on any social media platform, one of the air quotes gripes that educators have, classroom facilitators, is the discipline issue. And then we also know that there's a huge exodus of my generation. My generation, the early 90s, mid 90s people, we're retiring, we're leaving. And there's a vacuum in education. The old way was you go to college and then you do student teaching hours, observation hours, then you go become an educator, all right? But that's gone, because now there's a lot of educators that come in through alternative certification. And they didn't have the traditional way of taking lesson plans, of discipline, so on and so forth. So that's the issue right now with educators. And obviously there was no magic wand for dealing with discipline. Now, earlier in the show, we talked about connecting with your students. I got that. But, you know, sooner or later, sometimes it happens. And it's happened to me as a dad, okay, to where my children make a wrong choice. So you as a parent, and we're going to start off with you, Lamont, you as a parent, if your child creates a situation, and you know what, I don't want to create this as a ripple effect, because a discipline scenario can be, I don't want to go into the fight or flight of the brain, okay? Because we could say, oh, discipline, what? Did he cuss at the teacher? Did he use weed? No. There's tons of stuff, all right? And we're not going to get, you know, you guys have been doing a fabulous job for an hour and 42 minutes, and we're not going to get caught in the weeds with this. There's a situation. There's a discipline issue. Lamont, how do you want the teacher or campus administration to let you know about it?
I think definitely a phone call, communicating directly, communicating with facts, not conjecture, not biases, but what the facts are. And also expressing what rule is broken. Is it a subjective rule, or is it a rule that everyone breaks anyway? But on today, that's a more serious infraction. So I would like to know the facts straight and what rule was broken, but want to be communicated to directly.
Thank you. Chaco.
Well, I think, you know, you got to separate the behavior from the student, right? And so it's you know, understanding. And I'll tell you, I think it was Jasmine that said, you know, how teachers know the kids that they're going to be receiving from the previous year of who those children are, right? And there's something I drew a line on very, very hard. These good teachers have that tendency of saying, oh, you know, and of course they'll get together for the lateral and the vertical placements for next year, right? And then they start rattling off, well, you know, so-and-so is this, so-and-so does this, so, and I would stop them right there. I said, don't tell me. Do not tell me. Because when you start labeling these children start to attach themselves to that label.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the thing is, we need to separate that behavior from that child. That student is somebody. It's not the thing that he or she is doing. And so when we start to address that behavior as opposed to attacking this child, that's not right. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it's understanding that this behavior is something that needs to be addressed in a different way. You know, and then also getting on board with staying in touch with the families, as Lamont was saying, let them know ahead of time what's going on. Reach out to them, and just, I mean, don't wait until first 2 quarters are over to talk about, little Johnny's been doing this. As soon as it happens, I mean, stay in contact. Stay in contact. I'd rather know early than later that this has been going on. Then we can address a plan on how to move forward.
Very true. I agree with that 1,000%. Brian, what you got?
I need the teacher to call me before my kid gets home that day. I need to be able to know when they get off the bus or when I get on the pickup line what's going on, because I don't want to be like, hey, it's Friday, let's go get pizza, and then come to find out 2 days later when they get, oh, by the way, on a couple days later, hey, they had a really whatever. I need to know as the incident happens, one. But I also would like the whole situation as a parent. I want to know what was going on when this happened. Is this the first time you've seen it, or was this just the last straw? That tells me a couple of things about my kid. Are they just having a bad day, or is there something else going on? Because kids are really good barometers for their environment. And all of a sudden, you see a kid that just turned, and you're like, whoa, this last week was really rough. What happened? Well, there's something else. They just don't know how to get that out yet. They haven't learned how to express it. So what was going on in the situation? Tell me before they get home so that I can catch it that night when it's still fresh to them. You can't, it's harder to correct behavior a week, 2 weeks, 2 months down the road. And then, hey, here's some advice we have for you, parent. Like, we've seen this with some other kids. We know your kid. We know what they're doing. Maybe try this, and this, because we see that they react better in school to these things. And it's just, they get to know your kid, and the kid they get to know is sometimes very different than the kid I know. Yeah. My kids at school may be very different than they are at home. At home, they may be little Tasmanian devils tearing everything up, but perfect angels for the teacher, and the teachers rave about it. I'm like, whoa, no, the ones EMIG, EMIG, like those kids, really? Oh, okay. But they know those kids in that environment. Help me not co-parent, but co-educate these kids on their growth and their discipline. I'm not asking for, hey, like force wax with a ruler, because that teacher likes Catholic school more than they're allowed to. But maybe just, hey, try asking the question this way, because it'll get them back into that mindset. But just give me the advice. You're a teacher. Teach me too. We heard earlier that new math is difficult. Maybe we need clinics for parents on how to do math the new way. Maybe that's the engagement on how to make us come back and engage. Teach us the way the kids are learning. But, call me that day. Tell me what the whole situation was. Tell me what they did. Tell me how I can help make it better.
Thank you. Jackie?
I would like a call. As soon as they can, if possible, that same day, because I understand that teachers are also overloaded with other kids and work and all of that. And give me facts. Don't give me opinions. Give me the facts. And the same, like, let me know if it was a pattern, and this was the last chance that you gave my child, and then you finally spoke up. Because if it's something that we could have nipped in the bud the first time, then I would rather do that, even if it might be that the teacher might look too strict. That way I can, and what I could do to better facilitate my child's behavior at school.
Thank you. Jasmine, close us out.
How everybody said, I want to know what happened that same day when it happened. I want all the facts. I want to know what happened, who was involved. What consequences is my child going to face? Are we taking the appropriate action for whatever it was that happened? how Lamont said, is this something that, everybody does, but my kid just happened to get in trouble for it this day in this point in time? And if so, why? Like, are you trying to make an example of my kid? Again, I'm my only kid's advocate. Aside from the other parent, I am my only kid's advocate. So I also want to hear from my kid, and I want to know, hey, what happened? Why is this happening? What made you think this was okay? I want to get a picture of everything. I want to hear from everybody, so that way I can try to make it better. Not just for the teacher, but for my kid too. I need to make sure that my kid is, being listened to and heard, because a lot of times they will act out when they're feeling, that they're not being heard, that they're not being seen, that they're not. I need to make sure that my kid is being heard and seen so that they don't behave this way.
Thank you, panel. That was great. Thank you for being so honest. And that's what needs to be heard. Let's close off the show before we go to the lightning round. Moreno.
Last question. It is the finish the sentence question. And so it's really quick. Just finish or fill in the blank. So Chaco, I'm going to start off with you. Chaco, dear teacher, remember that we can work together by... Fill in the blank.
Dear teacher,
Dear teacher, remember
that
that we can work together by
collaborating.
By collaborating. Awesome. Jasmine, dear teacher, remember that we can work better together by
communicating, because we both want what's best for my child.
Awesome. Lamont, dear educator, remember that we can better work together. We can work better together by
setting clear expectations.
Jacqueline, dear teacher, remember that we can work better together by
creating realistic expectations.
Brian closes out. Dear teacher, remember that we can work better together by
Commiserating.
By what?
Commiserating. We can commiserate together about some of these kids sometimes. We're here too. We get that. Everyone else they took all the good answers. You can't put me last on a fill in the blank.
I know, but the reason I put you the last one is because I'm still thinking about God's chicken.
Hey, it's a thing.
I didn't know.
How they close on Sunday.
Exactly. That's why I'm putting it together now. So I'm thinking, God, some Chick-fil-A sounded good right now. But
all right, well, let's close off the show right now with the lightning round. This is the PGP podcast. G's for Ganas. Ganas, you know what, Hispanics, we're not a monolith. We're not all one big thing. Hey, even Hispanics from 915 in the Valley, we're totally different, but similar. And you know what? Cubans, Bolivians, Ecuador, Puerto Rico, we're not. Our beans are different. Our sopas are different. You call it papusas, we call it gorditas. It's all different. But one word does unite us. Universally, is ganas. It's a spiritual word that connects generations, where a grandma can yell at her granddaughter, échale ganas, mija. And we know that it's not a word. It is a generational love that projects throughout. And that's why these lightning round, rápido, quick. These lightning round answers, I want them with ganas to inspire people starting on Monday. And we're going to start off with Mr. Brian. You're going to be very first, sir. Give advice to a freshman in high school about their future.
Take a breath. Live in the moment. This is not forever. It's going to be quick.
What book would you recommend for other parents to read?
5 Love Languages for Teens. Or
Send
kids.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
Brianna Villarreal. She's our operations director. She knows the business. She has compassion, but she's also a bulldog when it comes down to it, and she'll protect her pack.
What summer vacation spot stands out and you want to visit again?
Well, in the Real Valley, in real South Texas, we have South Padre Island, and that's where we go. That's where my dad took me, my grandparents. We have family stories from down there. the restaurants, the people changed, the names of the hotels changed, but it's still SPI, baby.
2 favorite ice cream flavors?
Chocolate and strawberry.
Favorite action movie?
The Mummy.
If you had all the financial means, which continent would you live in with your family for 1 month?
Europe.
What do you do when it's time for you to recalibrate, for you to focus on yourself?
I have to keep my hands busy, so I make 3D printed cosplay pieces for friends and family.
And how can people get a hold of you? They want to know more about your podcast and other stuff.
So we're Nerd Out with the Word Out. We're on all the podcast networks, and you can email me directly at nerdoutwordoutpod@gmail.com.
Thank you, sir. Jackie, échele ganas, amiga, eh? Échele ganas, por favor. Give advice to a freshman in high school about their future.
Don't focus just on the grades, but focus on the person you want to become.
What book would you recommend for other parents to read?
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
Silvia Cianes. She's been a teacher for 30 years.
What summer vacation spot stands out and you want to visit again?
I miss San Diego.
What are your 2 favorite flavors of ice cream?
Cookies and Cream and Rocky Road.
Favorite action movie?
Top Gun Maverick.
If you had all the financial means, which continent would you live with your family for 1 month?
Europe.
What do you do when it's time for you to recalibrate and focus on yourself, ma'am?
I go to the spa.
How can people get a hold of you?
I have a LinkedIn. You can reach me at my Instagram page at ADV Academia del Valle
Love
in the
it.
Lower Valley.
In the lower valley. Lamont, give advice to a freshman in high school about their future.
Enjoy it. Relax. There's harder things in life.
What book would you recommend for other parents to read?
From good to great.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
Yeah, I've struggled with this one. I'm a pass on that one. It's just not it's not a me thing.
What summer vacation spot stands out and you want to visit again?
Universal Studios in Orlando, but shameless plug for Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
What are your 2 favorite ice cream flavors?
Cookies and cream and cookie dough.
What's your favorite action movie?
Tropic Thunder.
If you had all the financial means, which continent would you live with your family for 1 month?
North America still.
What do you do when it's time for you to recalibrate and focus on yourself?
Read, self-reflect on the word.
How can people get a hold of you, senor?
So on Facebook is Higher Definition Radio, YouTube also. Oh, good gracious. Website, higherdefradio.com. Look forward to meeting new people and talking about exciting things.
Chaco, give advice to a freshman in high school about their future.
Yeah, don't rush it. Take your time. You don't got to figure your life out right away. You got time.
What book would you recommend for other parents to read?
The Intentional Father by John Tyson. It's really powerful and it talks about intentionality.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
My co-author, Dr. Deborah Higdon. She's an amazing author, amazing educator, and she has so much passion for engaging dads back in the schools.
What summer vacation spot stands out and you want to visit again?
Well, we had lived here before, Dominican Republic. Would love to go back there.
What are your 2 favorite flavors of ice cream?
Vanilla and mango.
What is your favorite action movie?
The Equalizer.
If you had all the financial means, which continent would you live with your family for 1 month?
Africa.
What do you do when it's time for you, sir, to recalibrate and focus on yourself?
Yeah, find some quiet time, reflect and pray. That's I kind of reset myself.
And how can the audience get a hold of you, senor?
I'm on LinkedIn, but you can also reach out to me on our website at dadsandfams.com.
Love it. Jasmine, vámonos duro, con muchas ganas. Give advice to a freshman in high school about their future.
Enjoy high school. You don't need life figured out at 14 years old.
What book would you recommend for other parents to read?
The 5 Love Languages for Children.
Send some flowers to an active colleague who inspires you in your work. Name and title.
Rosa Garcia. She's a program coordinator.
What summer vacation spot stands out and you want to visit again?
Japan.
What are your 2 favorite flavors of ice cream?
Chocolate and Snickers Blizzard.
What is your favorite action movie?
Doom Part 1 and 2.
If you had the financial means, which continent would you live with your family for 1 month?
Asia.
What do you do to recalibrate? Focus on yourself.
I alone time for some self-care.
How can people get a hold of you, ma'am?
Facebook, Jasmine Mendoza.
Love it, panel. Thank you very much. Dios mío. Qué rico 2 horas, Dios mío. But there was a lot of knowledge dropped today. I want to thank the panel, our co-hosts, for always being here and doing great things. And remember, hey, educator out there, these are our customers, and we need to make sure that we connect with them. And we know a lot of the stuff that they just told us today for 2 hours. So it's free PD for us. Don't ever forget that. Is make sure that we listen to them to avoid any kind of concern when we can't handle that kind of concern, if you know what I mean. We need to be proactive and reach out to our parents and always say, ¿Qué pasó? ¿Cómo te puedo ayudar? What's happening? How can I help you? Make that connection with them. And right now, invest that credit in your credit card with your parents, with your kids, to ensure that nothing happens at the end of the semester, at the end of testing season, because we know that's when everything starts exploding and firing. Thank you for your panel. Say goodbye to everybody.
And don't hang up.
And don't hang up. And don't forget to join us next week, our very first educational lawyer roundtable. Dios mío, los abogados. ¿Qué voy a hablar? What am I going to talk about? Well, I don't know. I haven't figured it out. But you know what? Another set of high-powered, calibrated people that are here to help you, help me, whether you're in Maine or in Florida, whether you're in Alaska or Hawaii or anywhere in the 48 middle. We're all going through the same thing, and we're learning from the best people out there on the PGP podcast. Don't forget to like and share. Follow us on YouTube. Help the algorithm of this show and all the past shows. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week, 5 p.m. Central. Goodbye.